right. So tonight we'll go to the Q&A. So tonight I have a number of questions. All right, screen share. Okay, can y'all see? The question one, all right, okay. You know, hold on, I make it wide, bigger. All right, question one. Bhante, regarding sloth and torpor, when I meditate during the day, I was very sleepy, especially after eating. First, I did the walking meditation, and after that, I washed my face, but still, I still feel very drowsy. When I sat, I was asleep about 15 minutes. Bhante, how to be more mindful during the day? Huh? Now, this type of predicament a yogi goes through. Everybody also goes through this. So here when we regards to sloth and torpor, and especially when we are doing meditation, here our food also is one of the criteria for us to balance. That means that we should not take too much, not too heavy. But then sometimes there are yogis, they are afraid that in the evening they get hungry, especially when you are in the retreat. But when you are at home, if you are not doing the 8 precepts, maybe it's easier. Other than that, it's not so what we called easy to overcome this sloth and torpor. So if you can able to reduce the food a little bit, sometimes it may be helpful, especially when after lunch, because usually after breakfast, it all depends on whether some people after breakfast they also get very drowsy, but mostly people get drowsy is after lunch because of its more heavier type of meal. Now in some places of meditation, you are given one main meal a day, in a sense like 9 a.m. in the morning, you already finish your breakfast and lunch all together. Then only when it comes to like 4 o'clock, and then they have some kind of tea and some kind of drinks, So it all depends. So it depends on how much you take. So that also can be a problem to create a lot of sleepiness. Now it would be good that when we do the walking, especially after lunch, if we can, we do it a bit longer. We do it a bit longer. Don't worry about sitting meditation, because this sitting meditation, when you know that even when you're walking, when you feel sleepy, then it's a bit difficult to sit. So do a bit more walking meditation. That is good. I also find out that, for me, I can't say for every place that you should go and do this, the next one that I'm going to tell you, which is sometimes after lunch, for me at least, I take a nap before I start the afternoon meditation. I take a nap, maybe half an hour nap, or sometimes if I'm very tired, I take a 45 minutes nap. Don't go more than that. Mostly about half an hour nap, whether you sleep or not. So this time is that you just close your eyes. When you close your eyes, then you just lie down still and don't move the body. And don't and let the mind goes blank, Let the mind goes blank, then don't think of anything. Just gently bring the mind, gentle knowing of the body, not thorough knowing, not precise knowing, but just awareness of it, a slight awareness of it. Then if you can able to rest and sleep, then well and good. Then half an hour later, you wake up. Now before you take a nap, it's good that you make an intention, a clear intention, a clear adhitthana. That you make a wish that I'm going to wake up at half an hour, just for the body to rest. Sometimes I do that. I felt that it is good for the afternoon meditation. Just a short nap. Sometimes I don't need to because I don't feel tired. When I don't need to, then I just carry on meditation. But when I need to, I just take a nap. So it's good to, sometimes for me, I take a nap. Yeah. But then, as I said, certain places, these afternoon naps is sometimes teachers look at it as very, you are lazy. Some teachers are, and some meditation centers also, they will look at this as something as lazy. Actually, I don't think so. Lazy is that now you are really wanting to sleep and you do not want to meditate. You want to, the whole purpose of this nap is to sometimes just to reduce the tiredness of the body. If you're in a retreat, sometimes you wake up early in the morning, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then you have to meditate for the whole day, and day in, day out, day in, day out. It takes a toll on the body. So sometimes I find that in between, you just take a short nap, then it makes a lot of wonders to the afternoon sitting. You don't have much of, don't have strong sleepiness. So this is one thing to do. And also during the sitting also sometimes, if sometimes sloth and torpor comes in, sometimes if I notice that my body is really tired while sitting, I don't go to the kuti or to the room and sleep, Well, that time you have to let the body, you have to rest the body for a while, even while you are sitting. But then this is not a very, again, if I can do it for myself because my purpose is just to rest the body. My whole purpose is very clear. I just need to rest the body, and then after that, I continue with the meditation. And I find that when I rest the body at that moment of time for 10-15 minutes, then after that, when I can notice that the tiredness is slowly disappearing, then after that, the whole meditation becomes very good, clear again, So sometimes I don't fight with I don't fight with the sleepiness. I just let the body rest. I'm not going to sleep, but just the body rest, not noting at this moment of time. Just for 15 minutes or so. And then after that, when the body is feel good again, then start again this meditation. As I said, this one, because I'm quite experienced meditator, I do it not because of laziness, because of I just want to rest. But if I were to tell this to a beginner, if you do this, you don't do it for resting, you do it because you really want to sleep. That's a very big difference. There's a big difference. So that's why in a lot of times, some of the tricks, and I do what for sloth and torpor, is because over the years we are bombarded with it, and you don't fight it, and sometimes you fight it also you don't win, because it's not because you are mentally lazy. It's because the body is really tired. That one you cannot fight. So that one, something that you have to consider. Just this one you have to consider sometimes. If your body tired, sometimes you really need to rest. So of course, there are other things that will help us if we are meditating, is to make sure that our mind remains alert throughout the day. Alert means when we get up from the meditation, is make sure that our mind it's more alert than our everyday life. That means you're aware of what we are doing. Those things also, it helps us to recover from our sloth and torpor much more faster. Now, if you don't do these things, if you don't do the daily mindfulness, when it comes to the everyday, when it comes to the sitting especially, you find that sloth and torpor, that tiredness, that overcoming it, you're struggling inside there. So it's make sure that all the mindfulness, you do it as best as you can. Then over the days, you'll find that the sloth and torpor getting less. But if you are not in retreat, like right now that you are at home meditating, when you are at home meditating, you are just having like a once a day meditation, or maybe during this time you have more time to meditate because of a holiday. Don't expect too much, because there's not much of a meditation going on. There's not much of a meditation going on, because even when you're at home meditating, you still need to prepare your food, you still need to do this and that. You're not like in a retreat. In a retreat, you have one day after another that you can build up the momentum. Here, you build up a little bit. After that, it kind of like lose the momentum. Build up a bit, lose the momentum. Therefore, when it comes to your hindrances, it's more difficult to overcome. So when you're at home meditating, don't put your hopes too high. But you try. When you're in the retreat, it's after some days it gets better. And also, it's good that when you're at home, don't compare it to your retreat when you are in a retreat. So it's different. It's very different because of the momentum, continuity of the mindfulness. Okay. All right. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Today is quite a number of questions. This one. Meditation crisis. You want to know what is meditation crisis? Bhante, please explain what is meditation crisis. I heard some yogis said they had all aches and pains during their first sitting attempt, and they call this meditation crisis. Is this the right meaning? Meditation crisis, I don't think you should. Now you see, sometimes people tend to do the whole thing, use a very strong words, and then when somebody else don't understand what is meditation or haven't started meditation yet, they get a lot of fear because of these terms. So now, most probably you the way that you ask this question, most probably you haven't started really a deeper meditation. And for those who have more meditation experiences, they could understand why that we all go through all these pains and aches and so on. All right. Now, let's put it this simple. You and I, and even the Buddha or the Arahants also, they will still have pains and aches. You still have pains and aches. There's no such thing as when there's this body and then you do not have pain. You will still have pain whenever, of course, here the criteria is whenever you do the vipassana, then you will see pain and aches. It is part and parcel of the whole vipassana development. Part and parcel of the whole vipassana objects. And these aches and pains and pulling and tension and so on, they will continue. They will continue as long as you have this body. And again, when we are in a meditation, when the mindfulness begins to develop, objects become clearer to you. So in other words, pain also become clearer to you, which is equivalent to more painful. And it's part of the game. It is part of the development. So when a yogi doesn't understand why this pain is getting strong and why this pain aches is getting painful and tight and so on, then they use various types of terms like meditation crisis, like they have all kinds of terrible pain and when they explain this, when this new meditator explain this to a non-meditator or other new meditators, then because of the blind talking to the blind here, and therefore the other party that listen, then they become quite fearful or doubtful about the meditation. Because this pain and these aches, naturally beings want to shy from them. You want to shy from them. You don't want to face all these aches and pains. We could understand it. But in the nature of vipassana is that you have to see them as they really are. So in order to see them as they really are, that means you have to bring your attention. When a pain arises, you have to see them. So it's not a crisis. It's not a life and death in a sense, It's this pain and aches, they are just objects to train the mind in order for the mindfulness to arise. And it is a good object actually, if you look at it with the right state of mind, with the right attitude, with the right view. Not with something you fear, something you feel discontent about. If you look at it properly, they are just meditation object, and it really helps you to increase and develop your mindfulness. Sometimes during the retreat, then some yogis, sometimes when they don't have pain, it's just like when you are eating, you don't have salt like that, you feel tasteless. When they have pain coming in, the whole mind become very alert, very clear. And they can able to notice this pain, that pain, they feel the mind alert again. So like, for example, like this lady's first question here, connected with sloth and torpor, also the same. During the sitting, in the first few minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, they have a lot of sleepiness, drowsiness, nodding here and there. But then when they start to notice that the pain is coming from the buttock, they feel so happy because now there's a big, clear object for them. Now all they need to do is just switch it to the pain, they notice the pain, and then the whole mind become very clear. Then sort of like the pain save the sitting. They feel that the whole mind become alert again. Then they can able to notice this pain, that pain, rising, falling. So it is not a crisis. It's a wonderful, and it's a great friend. And so many times the teacher says, pain is your friend. Pain is your friend. Pain is a very good friend. If you are a beginner, what nonsense is he talking about? But when you meditate further, then actually you'll see that it's a good friend to help you to increase the mindfulness, to help you to keep the mind there. So it's not a meditation crisis. This is all conjured up by all those people who have not gone into a retreat for a long period of time, or they have not developed further. So they, in the beginning part, yes, you will feel a lot of pain. It's part and parcel of growth. Yeah. So this is something. Okay. All right. So don't call it meditation crisis. It's not a very good term. Okay. Next one. Okay. Now, the question is, how can we not delay any work, whether it is worldly or spiritual work? Now, this question is two parts, worldly and spiritual. Spiritual work, that means spiritual development. Worldly work means that, it can be your career, it can be your daily chores, your daily responsibility towards your family members, towards your household or finance or things like that. This is all worldly in that sense. Spiritual, that means connected to your dana, sila, bhavana, something like that. Now, spiritual work, as much as you can, whenever there is an opportunity and within your means and your ability, your physical ability, your financial means, then when the opportunity arises, then you should do it as much as you can or as best as you can. For example, if a retreat is starting, let's say, then this time you should, if you sign up for 2 weeks and then you make sure you finish that 2 weeks, no matter what, as best as you can. But of course, sometimes when you want to finish the 2 weeks, in between there are death occurs and so on, then of course we have to leave the retreat. But if there's nothing, then we should try to finish it as much as possible. If you sign up for 1 year retreat, let's say, then you try to finish that 1 year retreat. Either you finish that 1 year retreat or you die. That type of mentality, when it comes to spiritual work. So, because we do not know when are we going to die, truly. We do not know when death is going to come. So we do not know whether we're going to die out of COVID or out of cancer or out of whatever, but it will come. So for spiritual work, whenever the opportunity is there, whenever there's an occasion for you to do dana, whenever occasion for you to do keep a sila, to meditate, you do it as much as you can, like there's no tomorrow. As much as you can, as within your means and your ability. Okay, that is for spiritual work. Now, for worldly work, that one you have to consider, because sometimes, sometimes in the phrases that comes out sometimes you read in books or in the WhatsApp, or people send you WhatsApp, people send you in the Facebook. It says you should not you should not procrastinate your work until tomorrow. For tomorrow, you should do it. You should finish it today. Now that type of theme, that type of phrases, that type of statement, those meaning, around that, that you should not delay and so on. Well, that is worldly work. You have to take it with wisdom. This type of meaning, because this type of work, worldly work, you cannot finish on. You cannot finish. For example, I'm not asking you to be lazy. What I'm asking you is that you do it within your ability. If you cannot finish, don't overforce yourself and try to finish before tomorrow. If you cannot, then tomorrow, if you can finish it today. If you cannot finish it tomorrow. Don't be so perfectionist. Don't be so perfectionist that you have to finish everything today. If you live with that motto for many years, 20 years, 30 years, that perfectionist type of mentality becomes your suffering mentality. You're going to suffer mentally, because you become so easily agitated. You become so easily annoyed when your things are not going your way, because your mind is just focusing on finishing. Then if you do like that, you're going to end up with a lot of mental problem. But of course, there are things that at times you need to finish it. But when that time comes in, you do it as required. But if your job every time got deadline and the deadline is so short, so that type of job, like supposed to be 3 person to do it, then the boss only have 1 person that is you to do it, and then every time you have to do it, have to have a deadline. Well, you better consider it, because that is going to eat into your sanity. It's going to really mentally make you very tension, bodily very tension over time. Once a while, maybe you don't feel it, but over time you're going to feel it. So the worldly work here, you have to see whether it is need to finish or not. If not able to finish, then tomorrow. Because the worldly work cannot finish one. If the work can finish, then the boss won't hire you. If you can finish all the job, but the job was keep on coming, will never finish, because the greed is there. Behind it, the greed is there, and then the greed is there to wanting more and more. It will never finish one. So to the housework and all that thing, you won't able to finish, because your house always has maintenance, there's this and that. So cannot finish, but you do it as best as you can. But don't until you make yourself until you become so tense up. And then when you are so tense up, next time you want to come for your spiritual development, then all this tension you are bringing into your spiritual development, to your meditation, then it becomes a problem. And it becomes a huge problem. So sometimes this one we see it, especially when the yogi comes in the beginning, they begin to meditate at like 50 or 60s, because now they retired already wholesale. They retired already, they got all the time. Okay, now I want to spend my time go and develop already. I start a new life, all my work, I put it all aside. Now I want to start a new life, meditate. And that is wonderful, But you don't forget that your 30 years or 40 years of your worldly type of mentality, that perfectionist mentality, that anxiety and everything, you are bringing over into your meditation too. Although you are changing, you are not working on it, but your attitude, your stubbornness, sometimes your perfectionist type of mentality, that non-open, that you are more, your because sometimes when you work so long, your position also so high, then you carry that conceit also. And when you come into the meditation, you are no more the CEO, you no more all these things, but you still carry that conceit, you still carry that anxiety, you still carry that perfectionist. And when you want to come into the meditation, then you have a lot of problem, a lot of hindrances that is blocking you. Yeah. So the worldly work, you got to be careful. Yeah, you got to be careful and not get too attached to it. Don't get too attached to it. Yeah. But the spiritual work, as I said, you do it as much as you can, as best as you can. All right. Next one. This is quite a long question. Then this is quite a short question, but the beginning of the description is quite a lot. Yeah? A bit on Abhidhamma also. Yeah? Okay. Now the question 4 is this. Materiality, rupa. Here the rupa is of 28 kinds. 18 are called genetic material qualities. You have 4 great essential elements, 6 bases, 2 sexes, the vital force, the edible food, 4 sense field. 10 are called non-genetic material qualities. Element of space, 2 communication, 3 plasticities, 4 salient features. All right. Now the question is this. Now, please explain genetic material qualities and non-genetic material qualities. This is all right. Now, the question I got was like this. Now, some of us may be very talk about genetic material qualities connected with our Abhidhamma and so on. Sometimes it's not so easy to relate. But let me go through this a little bit. Now, the word genetic material qualities, the Pali word is called Jata Rupani. And non-genetic material qualities is Ajata Rupani. Now, this is from the manual of Insight Vipassana, Dipani by Lady Sayadaw. And these things is written in the late, I guess more like late 1800s. In the late 1800s, he may wrote it in Pali or wrote it in Burmese, because this Lady Sayadaw is a Burmese. So either in Pali or Burmese, they wrote these things. So of course, definitely they're not using genetic in that sense, This is an English translation. So English translation, you got to be careful when you read these things. Now the word jata here, you know the word jati, like birth, marana, death, jati, jata. Jata here means produce. Produce or arising, birth. Non-genetic, don't see the English. I think non-genetic, when they translate from the Burmese to English or Pali to English, they use I think this is not a very good translation. Ajata Rupani. So here, Jata means, Ajata means non-produced. A rupa that is non-produced. Jata means rupa that is produced. Now, in the Abhidhamma Sangaha, in the Abhidhamma Sangaha, which is the manual of Abhidhamma, here when the translation by Bhikkhu Bodhi, now in the Pali, in the Abhidhamma Sangaha, it's called Nipahana Rupa, and non-concrete produced matter is Anipahana Rupa. They are the same. Jata Rupani and Ajata Rupani Jata Rupani correspond to Nipahana Rupa. Then Jata Rupani is the same as Anippana Rupa. Okay? Yeah. So they are the same. They are the same. So therefore, let me put this smaller a little bit. Therefore, there are Jata Rupani or Nibbana Rupa, there are 18. And here you got non-concrete matter, you have 10 phenomena. Okay? Now 18 here, now let me go up a little bit bigger. So I got to need a bit slightly smaller a little bit. Okay? In order for you all to see. Now, you have here, Rupa is altogether 28 types of Rupa. Now, when we say Rupa in Abhidhamma sense, they got 28. Okay? The 28 is more like 4 plus 28. Because the 4 is the earth element, water element, fire element, and air element. Now, these 4 makes up all the rest. Makes up all the rest. Okay? So 4 plus 24. 4 plus 24. Altogether 28 types of matter. 4 plus 24. Alright? Okay. So concretely produced matter. Here, concretely produced matter, you have eye sensitivity. Eye sensitivity is like more like your cornea, or like your retina, or like your retina there, cones, rods, things like that. Ear sensitivity is like the sensitive part that it receives the sound, things like this. Objective phenomena, that means this is the object. If it's a visible form, that means it's the object for the eye. Sound is an object for the ear. These things like that. Now, in the sexual phenomena or gender phenomena here, you have femininity, masculinity. Okay? Femininity here means you have a certain components which women may have, and certain components men may have. And they are still derived from 4 material, the 4 great essential or the 4 elements. Then you have heart base. Here your heart base is more like your the seat of consciousness. Life faculty is like it still keep the life flowing. Nutrition, that means the food that you are they are taking into the body. Okay. Non-concretely matters, the space element, that means between the 4 great elements, if there is space there, then it's called a space element. Bodily intimation, for vocal intimation is this. Bodily intimation, that means that when you think of something, then let's say you want to reach for the cup, then your body is moving. That's called intimation. When you think of something, you want to say it out, then your voice in a certain way come out in a certain sense. That is called vocal intimation. Lightness, malleability, and wieldiness. Take for example, like malleability or wieldiness, either or. Say for example, you and I also consist of these 4 great elements, and we have eye sensitivity and so on and so forth. All right, but you can bend your body in such a way that your head can touch the knee. You can bend your head, and then your head can touch the knee. I cannot. I bend my head. I only come to 3/4 only. I can't even touch the knee. So, but why your 4 four elements can do that, why my four elements cannot do that? Then because of malleability and also the wilderness, things like that. So what it means is this. Now, characteristics of matter, that means that all this matter, they have arising, continuity, decay. That means they are disappearing and then they are changing, impermanence. They are changing. Okay. Now, what is this? These two different. Why is it produced matter? What is non-produced matter? Non-concrete produced matter or non-concrete matter. Why are they different here? Can see? Now we see the first one first. Now in a concretely produced matter, that means this is the first column here. The first column here, all these things. All of them have intrinsic characteristic. What is intrinsic characteristic? That one also we talk about that when we talk about wisdom. That the wisdom look into the intrinsic characteristic of an object. So because they possess this intrinsic characteristic, all of them, all these that means when they having this intrinsic characteristic, therefore they also possess these three universal characteristics of anicca, dukkha, anatta. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. Okay? Quite easy to understand. I mean, we have gone through that talk before. If you just join us, you may have to go back to some of the talks that I've mentioned, especially regarding on wisdom or clear comprehension. So I talk about that on intrinsic characteristic and all these three universal characteristics. Okay? All right. Now the third one on Nibbana Rupa. This is okay. Directly produced or conditioned by karma, consciousness, temperature and nutriment. Temperature and nutriment. So produce means jata. So I go back again. Jata rupani, produce matter, non-produced matter. So here, jatna here, produced, that means that they are produced by karma, consciousness, temperature, nutriment. All of four of them, they have to come together to produce. Say, for example, how come you look for example, how come you have like a birthmark for her, and others do not have a birthmark? After all, it's still four elements, all the four major elements, the essential elements. So because that, perhaps you have a karma, and then because of that karma and consciousness, temperature, nutriment, then that birthmark become very clear. Other people don't have, but you have it. How come your face in this way? How come your facial expression in your facial features in this way, and so on? And this is produced by karma. Consciousness here, that means when you think of something, when you think of something, you intend something, consciousness is there, then it produces action, it produces voice. For example, if you produce words like now coming out, that means in a way that there's a wind element that's involved. Produce new wind element, consciousness. Temperature, again here temperature as we meditate. As we meditate, then sometimes the body become very hot. Then when it become very hot, then you find that certain parts become tense. Why is the tension arising? That's a new type of phenomena, new type of essentials, four the four essential is arising. Or when you're getting hot and then the sweat is coming out, that is also a new phenomena, and new essentials is coming out. Nutriment, since that one is quite simple. The more you eat, the more fat you become. For example, you become fat. Less you don't eat so much, you become thinner, something like this. Nutriment. So this is what it means by conditioned or produced. So all this part, the first column one, it's all directly produced either by karma, consciousness, temperature, and nutriment. All four of them have to come together, But one of it may be the major cause. Again, here, concretely produced matter, also it means that jata rupani, it also means rupa. Here, rupa here means all matter undergo deformation or alteration due to conditions. And this is what the Buddha says. And why, monks, do you say material form? Do you say material form, rupa? It is deformed, rupati, therefore it is called material form. Deformed by what? Deformed by cold, deformed by heat, by hunger, by thirst, by flies, by mosquito, wind, sunburn, and creeping things. For example, they undergo deformation. So whenever you notice your bodily objects, hot, soft, warm, cold, they are always in the state of changing. So that's number 5. Sammasana rupa. The matter that can be comprehended by insight, to be comprehended by insight. Because they possess intrinsic characteristic, they possess therefore when they have intrinsic characteristic, they have 3 universal characteristic, because they go through change, then you can see them as they are. And therefore, because of you notice them because of their intrinsic characteristic, also later on, as you meditate also, you can notice that how this rupa is produced actually when you're meditation. Take for example, simple example again. When we were walking meditation, when you notice an intention, then your leg lifting, pushing, dropping starts to move. Intention belongs to the mind. So when you notice the intention arises, then you see that leg is moving up. Then that time you see the conditioning of an intention, and the leg is moving. So this time it can be comprehended by insight. And then also at the same time, you see this directly produced by condition. And here the condition is the consciousness. Okay? So this concretely produced matter, you can able to notice them. But can you notice all of them while you are in the meditation retreat, especially when you are in vipassana? No, you cannot. Perhaps, most probably, you cannot able to notice all of them here. Heart-based, sometimes also you may able to notice also, if your mind is sharp enough. Other than that, there are some of the things that are very, very subtle. They are too subtle. Sometimes we don't need to go in. As a vipassana meditator, you don't need to go and look for those objects which is subtle. Too subtle for the mind to pick up. What is important as a vipassana meditator is that we take the most prominent object. And the most prominent object, in order to arouse that mindfulness, clarity, wisdom, concentration. So it's not because of we want to see all of this, So sometimes there are meditators who meditate. They want to go through, which is earth element, fire element, water element, wind element, or air element. Then they want to know what is eye sensitivity, what ear sensitivity. They want to close your eye, close your eyes, everything. They want to go and look into all these things. And then it's not necessary, because that is, you're following just the books, you're not really doing vipassana. So be careful. Vipassana is one thing, Abhidhamma is sometimes another thing, especially in the beginning. Now, non-concretely produced matter. Now we come to this part here, non-concretely produced matter. Not derived from four great essential. That means they don't come from the four elements. Therefore, they are not ultimate realities. That means they don't have intrinsic characteristic. They have no what they call anicca dukkha anatta. It cannot be comprehended by insight. There are modes of expression or attributes for concretely produced matter. There's an extension, expression of it. As I said just now earlier on, what is lightness, what is malleability, that your body is in such a way, but you can able to bend the body. This is all, again, derived from concretely produced matter, and so on. So this is what it means here. What you mean by matter, the rupa. Although a lot of times during the vipassana, when we practice, we just keep noting. If the object is clear to you, pay attention to it. We don't go through into so much of this rupa or that rupa and so on. Mostly in the meditation, we take this great essential. Usually for the body, this four great essential. Usually is the 1, 2, 3. 1, 3, and 4. The water element also you don't take also. Anyway, we don't go into too much of talking about it. So something like this, okay? Produce matter and non-concretely produced matter. So next time when you read this, especially from the Manual of Buddhism or these requisites of enlightenment, Vipassana Manual of Insight, Vipassana Nibbani. So you be careful of the English words. Sometimes the English words can be quite mistranslated, I guess. Not so easy. So sometimes you know about the Pali word, it'll be good. Okay. All right. Next question. Fifth question, the last question. But we have got 2 questions here. Okay. Now, is it possible? Okay. Now, is it possible for one who already attained Sakadagami and the 4 Rupa jhanas to stimulate the cessation experience of an Anagami? To simulate the cessation experience of an Anagami. Okay. Is it possible for one who has already attained Sakadagami and the 4 Rupa jhanas to simulate the cessation experience of an Anagami? The answer is no, you cannot. You are Sakadagami, no matter what you have, you cannot experience what an Anagami can know. Whatever the cessation experience here, let's say is the absorption of cessation. No, you cannot do that. You cannot have all those things. If you are in the Sakadagami, no matter, even you have all the Arupa jhana or Rupa jhana, you do not able to experience what an Adagami will notice. Whether it's a Pala Samapatti or whether it is a Nirodha Samapatti, or attainment of friction or attainment of cessation. That one belongs to Anagami and Arahant. So Sakadagami to Anagami, for some people, can be still very far. It's not like they are next to each other. Yeah, when you are reading, it looks like they are next to each other, but when they are actually in the practice, it's very far apart. It's very, very far apart. It all depends on how strong your defilements are. Okay, now. Number 2, is it possible for one who attained the 4 Rupa jhanas to enter into asanya, non-percipient absorption, thereby suspending all perception and mental functions temporarily. Okay. Now I've got to explain a little bit more. Not the four rupa jhanas, the first four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 rupa jhanas. And the next thing that you may not understand is what we call asanya absorption. Now, asanya absorption here, there is a, before we look into it now, let's go into the 31 planes of existence. Let's go into the 31 planes of existence. I need to show you something. Can you all see the 31 planes of existence? Can? Okay. Now, you see that this purple color here, this is the realm of Brahma. Okay? The realm of Brahma here. This is the orange color on the top here. This is the realm of Arupa, formless realm, Arupa Loka. The purple one is the Brahma, Rupa Loka, the one that you have first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. Whereas the pink one or the red one here is the heavenly realms, the Deva realms. And we are also at the pink one. Then here, the bottom one, this is the woeful states. Okay? We don't go. If you have time, maybe I talked about this some time back, but I didn't talk about this asanya satta, because since the question is asked. Now here asanya sometimes they translate as mindless or non-percipient beings. What is non-percipient deva? What is non-percipient? Sometimes they are they are brahmas, but sometimes they're also called devas. Anyway, this mindless or asanya Brahma, this asanya Brahma, they are what we call the whole mind. For the 500 Mahakapas, for a long time, mentally they are suspended. All perception, all mental formation, whatever it is, all Chittasika consciousness, all suspended. That means these beings arises with a body. Although this body is very fine, very subtle body, but it arises with a body without a mind. Without a mind. That is why it's called mindless. So the opposite is this, the Arupa Loka. Arupa Loka, the beings arises with a mind, but without a body. There's no body, there's only mind only. So this one, asanya satta here, it's a kind of like a very special realm. Okay? So there are 500 Mahakapa. It's a very long time to be no mind, but with body. But how can you reach this state of, how can one reach this state of that level of rebirth in the Brahma realm, So how can you reach that rebirth in that Brahma realm? Okay, all right. Now, in this realm, this asanya satta, in this realm, firstly, all enlightened beings will not able to arise there. All enlightened beings will not able to arise in that part, in that type of rebirth. Sometimes the Brahma, even they are reborn as a Brahma, enlightened Brahma. Sometimes the Brahma pass away, and they're reborn again in a Brahma. And sometimes they have to go through several rounds of Brahma realm before they finally get final enlightenment, So even when they reborn again and again in the Brahma realm for a period of rebirth, for some rebirth, they will not touch asanya, this one. So this asanya satta here, they no enlightenment one will able to enter. Okay. Now it is possible for one with 4 rupa jhanas. That means they have already mastered all the 4 rupa jhanas, and if they want to reborn in that type of rebirth, then what they do is this. You practice under the 4th jhana, and you're skillful and you're mastery in all the 4 jhanas. And here, when you reach the 4th jhana, okay, when you reach the 4th jhana, you go into absorption, whichever absorption that you want to, and you come out from that absorption, okay? You come out immediately, you come out from the absorption. This time what you do is that you completely clear the mind away. How they do it? You come out, how they do it is that they make a whole mental intention in order to clear everything away. No nothing, no this one, as if like you keep the whole mind suspended and empty for the duration of that particular yogi once. Then he has to master in going into that complete like emptiness. Complete emptiness without mind, without thought, without anything. And it's completely suspended. So they go into there. And they go into there again, and they repeat this thing again and again and again and again until become very skillful. And in a way that there becomes, the craving attached to this type of state is there. Therefore, when they die and when they reborn, they are going to reborn in that particular realm of existence. And here, usually, as far as I know, Buddhist development, even you have first jhana to 4th jhana, and 5th jhana to 6th or 7th jhana, and so on. Normally we don't go into that state. Normally we don't go and make the mind all empty, because after all, we want to get out of this samsara. We need the perception to see anicca, dukkha, anatta. Here you cannot see anything at all. So usually disciples of the Buddha don't go into that state of mind. Who goes into this way? This one is there are first to 4th jhana doesn't mean that in the Buddhism you find it, in the Hinduism or Jainism or other method of meditation. You can bring yourself into the 4th jhana too, not just only in Buddhism only. So nowadays also they still can do it. So with that, sometimes when they reach the 4th jhana, they completely remove the whole mental state, the whole consciousness and everything, and let the whole mind suspend. And then when they do that, then yes, they go into this asanya absorption, which is a kind of absorption also. They go into that. So they suspend everything. So don't go into it. We just know will do. Next time you attain until 4th jhana, don't go into here. This is not a place where we should go to. So that's about all. There's no other question already. Okay, that's it for tonight. All right.